Christianity and Koreanness and sex. Go.
So I did grow up intensely Christian. I was going to devote my life to God. That was my whole sort of life plan until I lost my faith when I went right before college. And it was devastating in a way that still feels very hard to explain to people who haven't experienced it. It was and is the pivotal loss of my life, around which my life is organized. There's a before and there's an after. And I feel that in some ways, all of my writing has to do with what it means to lose the whole understanding of the world, to lose because I did at the time. I lost my whole community as well, because everyone I knew was not only Korean. I mean, not everybody was Korean, but most of my friends are Korean, but almost everybody was deeply Christian. And there's a grief that has never really lessened from that. It goes on and on and on. It colors every aspect of being alive for me, because there used to be somebody who was omniscient and looked after you and and was making sure everything was all right. So I didn't used to be the anxious person that I am, you know? And I think a lot of people view leaving Christianity as, they think, oh, that must have been so liberating. But for me, it was joy. I loved it so much. I loved walking around and imagining that everybody I met was also a child of God. I was a much more patient person, but it just became impossible to believe, in part because one of my objections that became stronger and stronger was it didn't make sense to me that other people who believed other things were condemned to hell for not believing what I did. That just it did not make sense. My brain could not make sense of it. And that was sort of the wedge that broke open my faith. I don't think I can disentangle what part of the terrible shame around everything having to do with my body comes from Christianity and what part comes from being Korean. I think maybe they're just doubled and it yeah.
You got the extra. Thinking about my own relationship to like my body and learning how to be at home in it, or learning how to be at home in my own desire, is that I actually think that I had the separation from Koreanness and Christianity. So there was all kinds of Korean shame that can come up, but it wasn't coupled with Christianity in the same way. Is that also because I have never physically quite fit in with a lot of Korean people, because I'm like 5'7", big boobs, and I have been this shape and size since I was 14. So I was always like a foot taller than everybody else. Like my body was always like a little bit alien. Like, it's very normie by like general Western American standards, but like among Korean people, like I look different, you know? And so I think there was a way of that bit of like alienation, and that actually I think helps me, because getting accustomed to feeling like a little bit, I don't know, I guess like awkward or like uncomfortable or like wrong in some ways in my body, once I had grappled with that, the idea of desire or other things being labeled as wrong, I was like, well, I know how to deal with that. Like, it didn't, like I was always practiced at it, because I was always like a little bit on the edge of things. So I was just like, oh, right, like Korean women are they're, you know, Asian women in general, hypersexualized in some way, or like, you know, playing out different sorts of tropes and fantasies.
Always opening the kimono.
Oh, just the kimonos just flapping open and flapping closed all the time, you know?